I grew up in a Christian home, and from a young age, I was taught the Christian way to go about relationships. And I had, by the time I was 13, I had my promise ring, I had my abstinence commitment. But as I entered my teen years, I basically had the philosophy that I was living for myself, and yet I sort of fit Jesus in whenever it was convenient. I knew I was going to heaven in the end. I didn't want to make God mad at me, so I tried to live a bit more morally than the rest of the people around me. When it came to movies, I wouldn't watch the really bad ones. When it came to music, I was a little bit careful, not to listen to the really raunchy stuff. When it came to purity, I said, okay, purity is the edge of a cliff. As long as I don't fall off that cliff, it's okay if I take a little step, a little step, a little step. And I kept giving my heart, my emotions, and even my body away to one guy after the next. And I told myself that as long as I stay on this side of the cliff, as long as I'm technically a virgin, I'm on God's good side. But after 3 or 4 relationships where I had my heart broken and I gave so much of myself to one guy after the next, I began to realize that I wasn't pure. Every time a relationship ended, it felt like someone had taken my heart and my emotions and ripped them out and shattered them all over the ground into a million pieces. And I remember laying on my bed one night crying after another breakup. Some guy had dumped me after I'd given everything to him. And I began to pray and say, God, what am I doing wrong? I'm on this side of the cliff. Look at all my friends. They've crossed over that line so many times. I'm doing so much better. I thought I was doing this your way. And God began to speak to my heart. And it wasn't an audible voice, but it was sort of like, Leslie, you need to give me control of this area of your life. You need to let me write your love story. As long as you are trying to live for self and fit me into your life, you're going to be hitting disaster after disaster after disaster. You're going to be giving away what was only meant for your future husband, and you're never going to experience my best for you in this area of your life. It was a few weeks later, I was reading my Bible, Proverbs 31, my proverb for the day, and there was a verse that stood out to me. The wife of godly character does her husband good and not harm all the days of her life. I started thinking about that word all the days of her life. I've never known any woman that's been married all the days of her life. So God, does that mean I'm supposed to begin loving my husband now, even before I know his name, know who he is or where he is? And God really began to convict me and say, that's exactly what it means. That's what real purity is. It's not just keeping yourself on this side of the cliff. It's realizing that your life is not your own. First and foremost, it belongs to me. And second of all, it belongs to your future husband. And every time you give your heart, your emotions, your affections, your physical body, it doesn't matter if you've got your technical virginity still. You're giving away a treasure that was only meant for the person that I meant for you to spend the rest of your life with. I began to think, what if 2 people could begin loving each other all the days of their life before they ever even met each other? They could actually be faithful to each other, not just sort of say, well, I'll try to stay on this side of the cliff. I'll try to hang on to that abstinence commitment and barely, and hopefully, my future husband or wife will appreciate that someday. But to literally say, every thought, every action, every attitude, every emotion, the way that I interact with the opposite sex, even in friendships, I want to honor that person in every possible way. That would be the foundation for an incredible love story. And that's what I decided I wanted for my life at the age of 16. It definitely wasn't an easy commitment to make, but I said to God that day, I said, okay, God, the next time I give my heart, my emotions, my physical body, any part of myself to a guy, it will not be until I know it's the husband that you've chosen for me. And even then, it will be in the right time and in the right context, and I won't just be giving all of this stuff away ahead of time.